All right, friends, it's T-Man, and we got a Blaha video. We're going to react to the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness, gear slave himself, JasonBlaha. That's right. So Blaha says in this video, it's hard to sell the basics because the basics aren't sexy. Okay.
It's hard to sell the basics because they aren't sexy. Hey everybody, it's JasonBlaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today, but if you guys would please click like down below, I would greatly appreciate it. If you are not following or subscribed, please do so now. Click that button and drop me a comment down under the video. I would appreciate that also. Thank you so much. All right, we see so much nonsense out there today. Absolutely ridiculous amounts of nonsense by newer influencers, coaches who are trying to make a name for themselves, discussing
Nonsense by newer influencers and coaches. Okay. Yeah.
crazy stuff like, oh, lengthened position partials. Let's take
Lengthened position partials like... Oh, lengthened position. What about shortened position? What about shortened position partials? Shorten. You know, when you shorten a muscle. What do you think's happening there exactly?
a cable and line up muscle fibers on a one-arm exercise on the other side of a joint, which means basically physics, you can't actually do that. But they don't seem to care about that when they make these things.
Actual fixed physics that what? He made absolutely no sense. You could call it a lengthened partial if that's what you want to call it. I don't know. Eccentric exercise, is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, eccentric exercise, that's associated with muscle growth and a whole bunch of stuff. You can lift heavier. You can lift 140% heavier in the eccentric than you could in the concentric, going with gravity. You get more gains lifting 140% eccentrically. See what I mean? You got zero gains. You're going to get zero gains lifting the way you lift conventionally because your eccentric is adapted. Unless you know how to get out of it in a full range of motion, then you'll never get any gains there. That's for sure, because you don't understand the concept of it. You don't understand it's the eccentric that does everything, gives you strength, it builds you up. But once constrained or imprisoned by concentric partials, you understand me? In the shortened partial position, you're just shortening muscles. That's what you're doing. You're shortening them. So it's associated with a loss in muscles, because that's how it adapts. It adapts by shortening. Yeah.
And I'm not saying for really advanced lifters, some extra stuff doesn't have its place. Like you guys will see me doing speed work with bands or chains, reverse hyper, stuff like that.
Yeah, he's just hypers, fast things with chains and all that. He's just playing with the weight. Muscle has to be challenged. It has to be, you have to go heavier and heavier. You have to do more sets really heavy in the eccentric. Otherwise, that muscle ain't growing because it's protecting from growing any more muscle because your body doesn't want to put on muscle. Getting fat is easy, but putting on muscle is astronomically difficult. You understand me? Because there's so many things that are going against you, and when muscles grow, they protect each other from fucking damaging and growing even further.
So a very advanced lifter, 48 years old, who squats 500 plus, deadlifts 600, so on and so forth, at almost 50 years old. My needs might be a little different.
Okay.
But for the overall...
I love this. I'm pushing almost 50 years old. My needs might be a little bit different. Yeah, 58. I don't see my needs being different. See what I mean? But there are specific things I have to do, adjust because of my age. Yeah, okay.
Majority of you...
Look, man, I'm not big because I lift a heavy weight or I lift like Blaha, light weights, or I keep doing these crazy exercises. I have to lift astronomically heavy because, bro, I weigh over 250. You understand me? I have to lift heavy to damage my muscle. So, and Blaha, he just plays with the weight because he doesn't have any muscle. He's weak. He takes steroids. to lift those whatever these whatever the lifts that he does, and there's not many there that he does. He's not even strong on the bench press. So it's just, I don't know. It's just that goofy squat that he does, that partial shortened length squat, and that whatever that deadlift that he does. Like you could call it shortened too.
If I were to take someone and I wasn't going to put them on something like conjugate, and I have someone who just goes, "Hey, coach, I just want to get real jacked.
Okay.
I just want to get as jacked as I possibly can." Do you know how simple a lot of what we would do is? What would our training look like? I don't know, you could probably do bench press and weighted dips. Or bench press and incline bench, right?
You know, he's been watching my videos, so he's going to say bench press and weighted dips. Okay, man, look, in the past, I never even did weighted dips or pull-ups in that time. I mean, I did some pull-ups, okay? But I didn't do weighted dips at all. I exclusively stuck to bench pressing, or dumbbell pressing, stuff like that. And it built me because my goal is to damage muscles, so it's in that same range. See, we're damaging and we're building. That's what we're doing. But dips are really good because they activate other types of hybrid type 2 muscles. Get it, man? You understand me? That's why you want to do a variety of every exercise. Look, later on, I realized it is better to do a variety of things that you're unaccustomed to doing in the gym. If you're not accustomed to doing certain things in the gym, I suggest you do them because that's where you're going to get the most gains. Get it, man? Jesus.
Right? What do we need for chest? A couple of basic movements. You won't need single.
Yes, dip is great. Okay, let's say that you have an astronomically heavy bench press, but you're sticking. You might want to take up the dip because it's versatile. If you don't have a spotter on the bench press, you could do dips, and you don't need a spotter to do just accentuated eccentric exercises. You understand me? Yeah. So that is a carryover to your bench press.
Arm machine flies. You won't need any of that to build a big chest. In fact, I will go so far as to say that if we're not even chasing the upper chest development,
I will agree. You don't need flies to build a chest. Flies don't build chests because you can't go heavy there. There's nothing. There's a stretch. You're stretching your arms out and down. But the problem is you're scared to go as far as you could possibly go stretching it. You get a better stretch when your arms in a position like a bench press position going down and up. Your elbows are flaring out. It's better and it's safer too.
Specifically, is a situation that you just want a big chest. Bench press and weighted dips will build your entire chest top to bottom. Pretty balanced.
Yeah, like I said, he didn't do any dips. He didn't do any dips. He started doing dips because he saw my channel, and then I keep telling people about dips and things, and now he's doing that because he's copying. Man, he's crazy, whatever. But anyway, he started incorporating it in his videos. I guess it's a good thing for him. I don't know. But he doesn't go heavy. He doesn't go heavy enough. And it's concentric, bro. Number one, it's a partial concentric shortening exercise, what he's doing here, which is the opposite of what you want to do. You want it to be eccentric. And you want it to be astronomically. You want to keep going heavier and heavier. Every week you want to add weight to it and cause as much damage as you can and grow it. Now, look, I'm not saying that people can't do eccentric exercises. Let's say eccentric and you are adapted to your exercise. So now let's say you're just stretching muscles, you're stretching them, but there isn't really some damage happening there. Will they grow? Yeah, but they'll grow at an astronomically slow rate without that damage. You understand me? It's the damage that makes it grow astronomically rapid. But just constantly trying to stretch your muscle, like coming in and stretching it in the eccentric, it's not going to do a lot for you, trust me. There, like I said, there will be growth there, better than what he's doing, this partial concentric shortening shit. But it's you get better growth and strength out of, man, damaging sessions, EIMD damaging sessions. Okay.
Same thing. You want bigger triceps. All right, those dips go a long way. How about some nice extensions, some good laying extensions?
Okay, dips, and triceps. Yeah, if you're in the eccentric position going down, there's a stretch on the tricep. See what I mean? Yeah. Okay.
Just get strong with them. Basic progressive overload on a big back.
Yeah, progressive overload in the partial length. I don't even know what he was saying in the beginning about partial lengths. I think he was against them, or maybe he's for them. Who the fuck knows? or yeah, he was talking about the fitness industry. Oh, the partial length. Man, that's where all the growth is, but whatever.
Weighted pull-ups or weighted chin-ups. Throw some rows in.
Weighted pull-ups or weighted chin-ups. Okay. Look, man, if you're using weighted pull-ups for your bicep, you wanna build your biceps using that, your body weight and bicep, you're pulling up and down. Yeah, that's a good modality. Definitely, I would say, okay, it helps. Now, pull-ups when you're doing wide for your back, you're doing these pull-ups on the bar. How good are they? How far can you go with them? Not very far, not for thickness. For the thickness in your back and muscle, remember, a lot of your strength will be drawn from your back. You definitely need to incorporate rows, because just pulling up and down on a bar is not going to really take you that far. It is great for pulling out the scapula, but you're not going to see a lot of gains just pulling yourself up and down on that bar in your back area. Like I said, you'll see some to a degree. You may have to go even heavier at some point, but you see greater gains when you start rowing. You know that?
Notice I didn't say anything about cables, didn't say anything about machines. Look, guys, rows with barbells and dumbbells plus some type of weighted pull-up or weighted chin-up, absolute king, especially once we start doing any deadlifts and stuff. You want your biceps to grow with it? Well, chin-ups, curls. Chin-ups and curls. Of course, I'm doing a power curl here. This is not necessarily a body.
Yeah, but the problem with a lot of calisthenic guys, they're adapted to their exercises. They come in too frequently. So now it becomes a stretching exercise. It becomes a stretching exercise like Pilates and old people. They're stretching their muscles and stuff. That's what it becomes. And so, yeah, it hasn't become damaging sessions anymore. There are no more damaging sessions. So even them, they can't figure out why they're not growing anymore. They get to a level and they're not really growing anymore.
Builder curl to power curl, again, strength movement, but it will build your biceps. But I mean, realistically, does anyone think a bicep is that complicated?
Yes, a bicep is that complicated. It will protect from getting this damage and growing. And if you're just adapted and you're trying to stretch it in that so-called lengthened position, stretching it to try it to get it to become bigger, well, good luck with that. See what I mean? Now, if you're lifting in full range of motion, well, the eccentric is adapted, so you're doing short in lengths. So if the eccentric is adapted, you're doing full range of motion now. You're moving in the gym. It's the same thing as if you were doing a partial shortening, lengthened lift or whatever exercise. And so it's going to shorten. It's going to adapt by shortening. You understand me? That's what's going to happen. Wow.
Get real strong at a barbell curl. Get real strong at chin-ups. If you need a little more, maybe a dumbbell. An incline curl with a dumbbell, alternating dumbbell curl. Basics. But you probably don't need more than a couple exercises. Just like we said for chest,
Yeah, okay.
Flat bench incline. Or flat bench and a dip. Man, this is not complicated, guys. And just get real strong at them. Not saying you can't change movements up. It's good to change movements, good to change grips, bars, angles, to prevent some overuse. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea from time to time. Maybe you get tired of barbell curl, want to go to dumbbells for a while. Maybe you get feeling a little bit of tendon inflammation. Hey, perfectly fine. That's not complicated.
Liars. You're all liars.
What's going on?
Not complicated. What about your shoulders? Well, you're doing rowing and pressing. You're pretty well covered. Okay. You need a little more shoulder. I don't know. Maybe you can do a front raise. I like front raises. But how about an incline bench or an overhead press? There you go. And then you need something for the side and the rear delts. You can do a rear delt raise. You do some laterals or an upright row. You do an incline dumbbell row. I like those. Get on an incline bench and do a dumbbell row. Man, combine that with your pull-ups and a chin-up. Or with your chin-ups and a barbell row. Man, now we got something. You're hitting every angle possible. You just hit every angle possible for that whole shoulder. What about legs? How about some squats and deadlifts? I don't know, those are powerlifting movements. Ah, shut up. Almost every time.
They are powerlifting, bro, or a lot of them, or whatever. No, that's not really powerlifting, that's bodybuilding. If you do it eccentrically, it's bodybuilding.
Top bodybuilder, 50% of the Mr. Olympias pushed squats and deadlifts like crazy. At least half of them have.
Yeah, of course they did, because they don't really know what they're doing. But did they do it eccentrically? See what I mean? No, these guys took drugs, Blaha.
Don't give me that nonsense. It's always been part of bodybuilding. Some squats, some deadlifts. You want some machine work? I'm big on machine work. I think a leg press or a belt squat or a hack squat machine is great for quads. Yeah, do a back squat and then do a machine squat. All right, you will build some thick quads, especially if you do go deep on them and you do full range of motion. Heck yeah. All right, so like.
See, if you go deep on them, that partial length, if you go deep on them, those squats, you'll get something. Does he do that? No, he never goes deep on them. He never does the eccentric. Now he tells you to do it, but he doesn't do it himself. Look at him right here. These are partial concentric reps.
Watch these belt squats I do here. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Do some back squats.
Partial short reps.
Wants to do a belt squat or a leg press with this range of motion. Go nice and deep. Okay? You'll see my
He's not going deep.
legs when I turn around and walk over. Of course, I'm also a 500-pound squatter. All right, the posterior chain, though, deadlift.
He's not.
Do some good morning.
Yeah, he's a 500-pound partial concentric rep squatter.
Or you want something else, a glute ham raise or even a hamstring curl. I mean, a hamstring curl machine's good. I like the hamstring curl machine. You're pretty well covered.
So do I.
But none of this is sexy, is it? But think about that for a minute. I mean, just break down what I just told you. Let's say you go to a normal gym, right? And let's just say go down the road. What would be a great workout? Flat bench, incline bench, dips. There, now we covered the shoulder part. So what do you need to make sure the shoulders get finished off? You could do an incline dumbbell row like that. Or you could do a rear delt raise or a lateral. Right? You're good. For most of you guys, base building. Covered your whole shoulder girdle, your pecs. You already got part of your triceps, so then throw a good extension. You can do a rope press down. I like press downs. They're a good basic movement, but otherwise a laying extension. We do it with an easy bar. You do it with dumbbells. Basic movements. About your back. Pull-ups and rows. Done. If you need more bicep, do chin-ups instead of pull-ups. That's why I do it. My biceps lag behind. A big back, biceps not the best.
Sure.
Right? Do a chin-up and a barbell curl. Bicep. We just covered the whole upper body. We just hit every single muscle in the upper body with at least 2 different exercises, didn't we?
Yeah, but there's no real effort put in there, so there's not going to be any real growth.
Combination of big movement.
In other words, you're really not building your natural strength. You understand me? You're building nervous system. You could call it nervous system, strength, nervous system. You could call it whatever you want. But it's not real. It's not real because it's not based on your physical natural strength, which you really want to increase.
And some isolation work. right? Legs, squats, deadlifts, leg press. Good morning. Done.
Yeah.
You just get real strong.
Done. Just get real strong, dude.
Get real
How do you get really strong then? Please explain to me. I'd love to know. How do you get really strong?
strong, anywhere from 5 to 12 rep range. With those movements, you'll be thick. Eat chicken, rice, and vegetables, or steak, rice, and vegetables. Potatoes count as a vegetable, by the way. Done. Eat clean. Eat plenty of quality carbs and protein.
Yeah, eat vegetables. They're definitely going to build you with these phytoestrogens and the toxins. They're gonna really aid in building those muscles. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Don't eat junk food. You build some nice lean muscle. See how easy that is? Do you see how easy that was? Basics work, but they're not sexy, and so influencers won't sell them to you. That's the problem.
Okay.
There's so many things that we need to talk about. We just got to jump right in.
Sorry, I guess that was it. That was it for the video. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Don't you think about that? Like, subscribe, support the channel. That was ridiculous, man. I don't know. Blaha is not making any progress.